Hey, good morning, friends. Have a little recipe here I want to share with you that we make sometimes in the house. Kind of a Mexican dish, so just follow along here. As you see, we have 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm going to use probably half of this big red onion, 1 mild chili pepper, it's a big one, 1 green bell pepper, and some corn tortillas, okay? We're going to add chili beans, some additional beans with honey and beer flavor, Mexican recipe tomatoes, 1 can of whole kernel corn, and if needed we'll add a little bit extra tomato sauce to sauce it up if it's too dry. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and incorporate all that stuff in a fry pan, and then we're going to put it in a casserole dish and bake it with cheese on top. It's going to be really good, so just stay tuned and you're really going to love this one. Alright, the first step here is we're going to get this ground beef frying up and brown it. I'm going to add a little minced garlic in there. This is going to be kind of a soupy, saucy stuff at first. But you'll see how it all comes together. It's going to be nice. Next, I'm going to put a little bit of my all-purpose seasoning on here. Salt, pepper, garlic, onion mix. Not too much, just a little bit on there for some flavor. Because we're going to put all that Mexican stuff on there in a little while. It's really going to turn it on. I really love these electric skillets. They come in really handy. You can cook anything in them. But of course you can just use a frying pan on the stove top if you like. So we'll let this go a little longer. Now the beef here is mostly cooked. There's a little bit of grease in there, but a lot of that actually is water that they add to the meat when they manufacture the meat to sell it. You know that. So we're going to add our onions. This stuff's all going to reduce down after we get it all cooking. And our peppers. Cook this up for about 5 or 10 minutes and see how it looks. Then we're going to add all the sauce and the beans and everything after that. Sure looks good though. I love this stuff. Stir it up a little bit. Got to get those peppers and onions towards the bottom there. I have the skillet turned on high heat right now for the meantime. Okay. So let's go ahead and just wait a little while. We'll cook this up a little more and we'll be back. Now it's been about 10 minutes and you see the meat is fully cooked. The veggies are softened and cooked. So now it's time to add our canned goods. I'm going to put this Mexican tomatoes in first. Then we're going to add a can of chili beans. This chili beans doesn't have meat in it. You could use the kind with meat or not meat, whatever you like. Next, I'm going to add my extra beans. You could add any beans you like in this thing. Very forgiving. I'm going to put my can of corn and 1 small can of tomato sauce in here to start out with. I don't know if I'm going to need 2 cans. We'll see in a minute here. Just mix it up. Mix it all up nice and gently. I always go from the outside edges in so you don't spill it. Okay. Starting to look like something now, isn't it? Look at that stuff. Oh yeah. I think I'm going to need 1 more can of tomato sauce in here, but that's fine. It's going to be perfect. So we're going to let that stew up. Maybe good another 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We'll be back. Looks like everything here is all cooking up nicely. I just had a little taste and it's not enough heat. It barely has any heat. The only heat in there is those peppers that I threw in there, and they're not very hot. So for my taste, I like a little more heat. I'm going to put a little bit of this habanero sauce in there. And this is mild stuff. Just a touch. You can always add later when you're eating it. But I like to just have a little bit of heat in this stuff. Because when we cook it, all this juice is going to soak into the tortillas, and that's what we want. That's the best part. Baking it in the oven and let it soak in the tortillas. You could also do this whole thing in a crock pot if you wanted to, but it comes out a little different in the oven. I like it better in the oven. We're going to put it in a casserole dish next. Okay, next we have our corn tortillas. I prefer corn tortillas in this dish. And you could put the whole tortilla in, but I like to cut them up because it's easier to serve that way. So we're going to cut them into 4s. You can even cut them into 8ths if you want to and make them smaller. That way when you're spooning it out, you're not pulling out a whole darn tortilla at once. Okay, so that's the secret to that. So that's what they look like when they're all cut up. And actually, if you wanted to, you could just buy a big bag of tortilla chips and do the same thing. Okay, folks, here we go. I'm just going to squirt a little squirt of some canola oil in there so it doesn't stick on the bottom. We're going to throw in a bunch of our tortilla stuff on the bottom here. We're going to make this in layers. Okay. Just think about if you were making lasagna. Kind of the same thing. All right, it got a good coating on the bottom. Put some of the good stuff in there now. Another layer of tortillas. All this flavor is going to go into your tortillas. It's good stuff. Now the last 2 layers, I like to add some cheese in here. So we're going to get the cheese out. We're going to use this cheddar with Monterey Jack today. Okay, now some more tortillas. We're going to fill this whole dish up. Am I making you hungry yet? We're almost finished. Looks like I'm gonna have a little bit left over here so I can make something else with it. Sometimes I like to throw a little rice in here, make it good too. Now more cheese. Put a little extra cheese on the top. Okay, now we're going to put the lid on. We're going to bake that for about 30 or 40 minutes at 350 degrees in the oven. Well, I just took it out of the oven. I might have cooked it a little long, but not too bad. You see it was seeping out the top, but look at this. Oh yeah, steamy. The cheese is all melty. So you know that stuff was boiling in there. Should be good. I'm going to let that cool down a little and solidify the cheese and all the sauce and everything just a little bit before I take a little scoop out of there. But anyway, yeah, came out really good. Hope you can make this stuff at home, folks. Enjoy. This is Big Ron signing off. We will see you next time. Eat healthy.